When you are old and telling stories from your life, what's going to be your favorite one to tell? It probably hasn't actually happened yet. I already have one I really enjoy telling though, which is how, when I was in middle school, all the kids of my neighborhood would get together and settle arguments by playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Most of us weren't friends or anything, but we all had a mutual love of either the show or the card game, which united us just long enough that it reduced the amount of physical fighting. There were 3 locations people could meet to duel: an electrical transformer, the local library, and a piece of playground equipment that just happened to have a big plastic roof. If it wasn't at one of these locations, accessible to spectators, then it wasn't a valid match to settle anything. We'd always pick one person we mutually felt we could trust as a ref mediator. And when it was all said and done, it was all said and done. If you won, you won. If you lost, and you had to live with the consequences of accepting the duel. Probably the worst day of my life. Literally. It was a Sunday on daylight savings, so the time changed. The next morning I had school, but because of daylight savings I woke up late and was an hour late to first block. I fell asleep in second block. I didn't eat breakfast, so by third block I was starving and didn't have time to pack lunch, so I had to ask a classmate to buy lunch for me because I was hungry and broke. I didn't even get time to finish my lunch. Then finally on my way to fourth block I managed to get the hiccups, thought it was a good idea to hold my breath, blacked out, hit my head on the lockers, cut my forehead open on said lockers, get a minor concoction, sprain my foot, had to go to the get in fourth drip due to low blood pressure, and last but not least, cost my dad over a couple $1,000s in medical bills. Yep, those were the days. Let me tell you of the year 2019. In humanity's darkest hour, video games were our only hope. We had flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, and insane people galore. Minecraft was on the verge of greatness once more. We were promised Doom Eternal, Halo Infinite, COD MW Reboot, and a new Cyberpunk. Those days were the greatest. The time my village was terrorized by my neighbor's baby donkey. Living in rural areas means a lot of weird things happen. We experienced drama that urban folk couldn't imagine. A rogue baby donkey chasing and biting everyone to the point we were scared to go walking around the area is just one of those things. Fun times. When my friend got a Viking horn from our history teacher and we all went around blowing it. The horn or your history teacher? Both. The teacher was wearing the horn. Your teacher has a gender. But don't blow your teacher. The time my friend's neighbor lost her peacock, and what ensued was a literal 5-hour adventure of us running through the woods driving around looking for it. We eventually found it, and had to catch it with a gigantic net. Good times. This is gross but funny. I picked the nicest looking bloke up. All my mates were jealous we went home to his, but it had a lot to drink. I went down on him, and he thrusted upwards. I gagged, and projectile vomited over him in the bedroom. Probably the one where I managed to break my leg on my last step out of the slippery forest leads to the safe dirt road, while my best friend who had saved my life already once that day and promised to protect me was right there. Any one of my various concert stories, especially the Animal Collective shows, the eclectic crowd they attract always has me leaving the venue with stories to tell, and I could honestly retell them over and over. One of my friends worded something incorrectly so this girl in the class said you don't even proper language. Then I said don't you mean proper grammar? The whole table and even our teacher started laughing. The time I tripped acid through a police raid when I was 16 and thought I killed my best friends because I was giving it to them for the first time and they had to speed away at the peak of it past the cop cars. How I drove a Lamborghini when I was 13. Oh wait, Lamborghinis will be toys to youths when I'm old XD. So far, how my second semester of college turned from me being friends with my roomie into filing a police report against them. I will tell that I was fell from seat on a ride that shakes left and right violently, and then I was scared and screaming. Accidentally ending up on an ATV trail in the pitch black in a national forest in a rented car Rio. Mainly stories from my travel experiences, and the time a teacher threw about 2-3 of a pumpkin at me. My family and I had a trip to Disneyland. I threw up in the middle of the lobby and my little brother slipped on my spew. Dunno. Perhaps that story hasn't been written yet. Only time can tell what will end up being that story. That out of all 4 of us kids, I was the one who had a normal, non-drama, police-filled life. About this one time me and my friend drew pentagrams everywhere at school because we were bored. The time I stayed on a fridge for 5 hours, almost 6, before I started feeling bad. At the end of our cross-country road trip, my friend and I lucked into a penthouse in the Bellagio. Hopefully how I meet my future wife and all the adventures we experienced together. That I found my life partner through Tinder. That I believe in destiny. How I got out of this depression and met the love of my life, hopefully. That I won 3rd place in a drag show I didn't mean to enter. How I really FK'd up in 8th grade, not really telling that story though. Let me tell you about the 2016 presidential election. Well kids, I survived, but most of the time I was wishing I didn't. I'm already old, and nobody wants to listen to my stories. How the shoes of today are not meant to be worn on the streets of Belgrade. When we used to do International Day at my old elementary school. And thing about love has to be one of the best feelings. My friends and I went hiding plastic babies around our school. That I survived the end of the world in 2012. Many people believed the world was round, SMH. Kids, when I first met your dad I hated his guts. That I accidentally sharted on my friend's foot, lol. I survived the war between T-Series and Pewds. The time I tied a banana to a bathroom ceiling. If it's to my kids, how I met their mother. Dunno yet, I'm still mackin' 'em. I'm not old but happy cake day.